Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca Louise of Rebecca Louise Knits and you're watching the RLK podcast. This is where I show all the things that I'm making, whether they be knit, crochet, and I also share some spinning. Welcome. If you haven't watched before, thank you so much for joining, and everyone coming back to watch, thank you so much for joining as well. Happy New Year and Happy Lunar New Year to anyone who celebrates. I know I'm coming in a bit late. I know that we're in the middle of February and yeah, but my first episode of 2026 hasn't been the easiest. This is actually my third time recording it, which I'm hoping goes well, because I did try earlier in the month in February and it just wasn't really working. I think I just got really out of practice over Christmas and having a break, and so yeah, it wasn't great, and I'm learning to edit but I'm not brilliant, so trying to fix all the bits and pieces of it weren't really working out. So I decided to leave it another couple of weeks and just make some more progress on everything that I was making. And that worked out well because I did actually finish something, which was nice. So I have more finished objects in this episode than I would have. But yeah, then I filmed it again yesterday and everything went perfectly fine, except there was absolutely no audio on the file. Once I'd uploaded it and got ready to edit, there was just no sound at all. So I don't know what happened there. I'm hoping that this works out much better, because it'd be really great just to get it out there and upload it and just be done with episode 13, because I have so much to show in this episode. It's going to be a long one. Settle in because there is a lot to show. So thank you so much for joining me, and we will get into it and the finished objects. But before we do, I just want to let you all know about a little few things that I'm changing about the podcast. So obviously I will still be making and showing you what I'm making, and of course showing you the lovely yarns that I buy and try out. We'll absolutely be doing that. But I wanted to add a few things to basically the things that I include in the podcast and the information that I provide as well in the video information just below. So those things are, I'm going to be adding a section at the end of each podcast, which is going to be what I'm reading this month. So that's going to be where I talk about a book or two, or something that I've read that I connected with or inspired me, or that I just really enjoyed. So this episode's going to feature the first one of them at the very end. I have a book that I'm going to be sharing, which I was really excited. When I finished reading it, it was just totally amazing, so I'll be including that at the end. And as well, something else, I'm just going to pop down a few details below of a couple of websites that you can visit where you can look at or find information about what I'm going to mention now, and where you can also donate. And these are all going to be for people in the US who are being largely affected by the Trump administration and the ICE officer brutality that's currently taking place. And so yeah, I wanted to include these because I had sort of a hard time at the beginning of the year. Everything was feeling a lot, like a bit much, and I decided to just give myself time, and I was like, it's fine, we'll just wait it out, you can rest up, you can winter away all that you like, and we'll sort of go back to things in February, which is what's happening, which is great. But I'm just feeling completely overconsumed by stuff that I've been seeing online that has been really difficult to see and experience through a screen. So I can only imagine how awful and horrific it is to experience it in real life. And I just wanted to put some information down below to say that, like, to just show a little support, maybe make more awareness, and if people donate for it, then that's amazing as well, because it's going to help all the funding that's going to people who really need it right now. And yeah, Abolish ICE. So yeah, I just wanted to include that because I felt like I have some sort of platform here, like I do have quite a few followers, and so I thought, do you know what, if it creates further reach, then that's a good thing. So okay, right, the beginning of RLK podcast episode 13. I will now begin with my finished objects. Okay, so first up I have what I'm wearing. This is my finished Sophie Shawl by PetiteKnit, and it is striped, which is so pretty. I'm hoping my camera can pick up the colours and stuff today, only because it's a little overcast out there and I am using natural light, so I apologise if things are a little darker than they could be, but here she is, and she's very pretty, and I was very happy with how she turned out. So I have used, to make my Sophie Shawl, I have used Juniper Moons Farms Patagonia in the colour Pink, Mallow and Seafoam Green. I'm just trying to think if I get up closer it'll like... Absolutely loved making it. I'd recently made the Sophie scarf with a friend. We did it at the same time because she was like learning how to knit, and she wanted to keep doing like smaller projects where she could get a hand of certain stitches and stuff, and so we thought we'd do the Sophie scarf together as like a fun little thing, because we both attend the yarn group that I run weekly, so it was really nice to see our progress at each session. And so with this, I had already started doing something with the Patagonia, which was to do a striped shawl but in stockinette, and it wasn't going very well. I did show quite a bit of it in my last episode, and it had really grown quite a bit. So naturally I did have to frog that eventually, but I started the Sophie Shawl because I thought it would just be really nice to have an I-cord edge and it be a bit neater. And I had been wanting to make the shawl, and I figured, I did not have gauge with it, but I figured you go to a certain length and then you start decreasing back down, and I was like, let's just do it. So I did, and I'm so happy that I did because it came out really lovely. And I was just really happy with the stripe. Sort of obsessed with colour work right now, and stripes was like a really big one where I was like, I absolutely love like just getting to the next colour again and again and again. And it was quite addicting to go back to it as a project because I just kept working away, and it was like a lot of progress in just one sitting because of that. And I definitely think I'll include more stripes into other things that I make. There we go. Oh god, that took so long to focus. I'm so sorry. My camera is not having very much fun today. Okay, so just wanted to show you the edge and the I-cord together because I was just really happy with how neat it all came out and after it blocked and everything. And so yeah, another successful Sophie, I guess, the Sophie Shawl by PetiteKnit. So next up I have something fun. It's a very fun green colour. So this is the Fat Fur Hat by Spektakelstrik, and she's a little floppy, I'm not gonna lie. She's got like no structure, but here she is, and a really fun project to make. I really liked the structure of this pattern. It was interesting and fun to make. So I think it's obvious that I didn't use the yarn that was recommended in the pattern, so I actually used a yarn called Cumulus by Fyberspates in the colour Mint, and it's a blend of alpaca and mulberry silk, and I think the alpaca is brushed because she is still a fluffy yarn and she has sort of a halo, but the trouble is I did brush it out with a mohair brush and it looked really great, but then when it sort of went away into its drawer, into its storage, when I wasn't wearing it, it sort of lost a bit of luster, let's say. And so I think it's going to be a case of having to brush it out again every now and then so it can like fluff back up, which isn't a hardship. I'm like totally fine with doing that. It's not a problem. But I will say this, if I do make the pattern again, I think I would go with more of a yarn that was recommended in the pattern, like closer to that, because you sort of do want the whole fluffed up and sort of just for it to look how the sort of sample pictures look for the pattern. And it sort of wasn't, because it didn't have the same structure. But in saying that, it is gorgeously soft, and it is very, very light, and it's lovely to wear. And I am still wearing it because it's still quite cold near where I am, so yeah. So I was happy with it in itself, but on reflection, I think I would go closer to the yarn if I was to make it again. But again, love the experience, love making the hat, and I did have some yarn left over. And I'd had an idea for a while of what to do with a little amount of yarn, because when I was at a yarn show a while ago, a couple of years ago, I saw a woman who had a Sheep the Shaun bag. And I also have a Shaun the Sheep bag. And she'd made him a little hat. And I just thought it was the cutest thing. And I said to her, like, I love it. I have a Shaun the Sheep bag. I'm going to make him a little hat too. And she said, do it, but tack it on, because obviously he's naughty and he's running around and he needs the hat to be secure so he doesn't lose it. And so that's exactly what I did. So here he is with his little mint hat, and it matches mine. And we look really cute when we wear them together, which we did do. I did do a test run, and I took him out and I saw how he fared in the real world, and he did really well. It even rained, and it's absolutely fine, even though it got a little bit wet, which I'm really happy about. So yay to the fibres that were in it, because they dried really well. And here he is. He's very, very cute, and I did tack it on. And his hat is nice and secure, and now we can match whenever we go out. And yeah, just something a little bit fun to use up the last bit of scraps, because he deserves a hat in this cold weather that we've been having. So that was a little bit of fun, and like I said, used up some more yarn, so that's always a good thing. Okay, my last work in progress, my third piece, is I'm very, very happy with. I'm very, very happy with how this worked out. It's my Dagmar cardigan, my Dagmar jacket by PetiteKnit, and nothing I've ever made has blocked as beautifully as my Dagmar jacket. Look at the cable detail. Look at the sleeve. The sleeves came out so well. I've never been as happy as I have with this cardigan, obviously at the end of a project. Now, as you can see, I don't have my buttons yet. So yes, technically, it's not a really finished object, but I will get my buttons at some point and I will put them on. But for now, she's blocked, she's finished, all the ribbing has been done, and I'm just so happy with how it turned out. Like, I can't get over how good it looks and how well it blocked. The pattern was just amazing to follow. I'm so good with charts now that it was just an absolute breeze, and I had no problems. I did make a mistake on the sleeve, but by the time I'd figured out that I'd done that, I was at the end of sleeve 1 doing the ribbing, and I was like, doesn't make that much of a difference. Basically what happened is I took out a stitch that was supposed to keep, and instead of reading purl 2, so 2 stitches, purl them, I read in my head purl 2 together, and so I made a decrease when I didn't need to. And all it is along the outer side of the honeycomb on the sleeve, there's supposed to be a purl line going down here like there is on the other side, but instead I've gone straight into seed stitch. But like I said, it still looks good, like it still looks lovely. And if I hadn't told you, I don't think anyone would have known, but I'm being totally transparent here. I did make a mistake, and then I just thought, you know what, I've just finished a whole sleeve. I'm not going to rip it back for the sake of one extra stitch, where I still liked how it looked. I know it's not perfect, I know that, but I'm kind of okay with it. Like, look, it's my version. And so I did the exact same on the second sleeve. And I just thought the amount of hours that had already gone into it, because it was a really, really long project. I mean, I think I did cast it on in October, and so I sort of finished it around the end of Christmas into January, And I was like, come on, it's been like 4 months. Let's just leave it as it is. It still looked amazing. And then it blocked so beautifully, and it blocked out to size as well, which was absolutely amazing. And I was just so happy about how it's ended up. So I'm not even bothered that there's a little error on the sleeves. I'm like, it's fine. It's my version and it's beautiful anyway. And I'm going to be shopping for some lovely buttons for it in the near future. So that's fun. So I used the recommended yarn that was in the Dagmar jacket pattern, which is Hjelholts Triple. And I used the colour Creme, which if I zoom in, you can see is this lovely, gorgeous, sort of off-white, wheaty sort of colour. And then it has lovely running pieces of like fibres that are like slightly darker. So it has these really sort of dark pieces in it. Can you see that like shading there where it has like these dark specks? And I just, oh, again, I love the yarn as well. It's blocked out so soft and so fluffy. It really like, do you know, like I've heard people say like with blocking that yarn can really bloom. And I don't think I've ever really had that experience before, but then when my Dagmar blocked and the Hjelholts Triple, it bloomed, and I totally got what they meant, and I was like, oh, this is what that is. So it was just really lovely experience, amazing project. I don't think I'm going to be making a cable cardigan again for a while though. This stitching really did get to my hands. I had a lot of aching during it, and I was like, it's just a lot of back and forth, and my hands were really having it. So I did take breaks from the Dagmar. Every time I got to the next milestone I said take a week off, and so that's why it did take so long to finish. But I'm really glad that I have. It feels amazing to own something this beautiful, and I can't believe I made it myself. It's one of those really sort of like full of joy knit moments, and I hope everyone watching this gets one, because it's just really lovely. And I cannot wait to start wearing it. It's going to be so lovely to wear out. And I'm hoping I can even carry it sort of as outerwear into spring, because I just think it would be so lovely to get to wear it for a good few months before it's absolutely impossible in the middle of summer. But yeah, so like I said, a lot of work, but it totally paid off. But as we go into my works in progress, you will see that I'm definitely leaning more to stockinette projects, because they're so much easier on my hands, and yeah, it's a lot nicer to do with a few things that are just sort of like really clean looking and just basic stitches, where I can just knit along and watch whatever I'm watching or listen to whatever I'm listening to. So that's it for my finished objects, and now we'll move on to works in progress. Okay, sorry, it's a bit complicated, the first one that I'm showing you, because I've got it all on wires and everything, and but I'm just going to show you this bit here. So, a little bit of explanation for what it is. So if I put it, yes, there onto my left. So this is the left front and back of the, I'm starting the Cranberry dress by MadebyLea.s. And I'm quite excited for this because I'm going to be really happy to have a knitted dress. So first of all, let's get all the details out of the way, and then I'll explain a bit more. So I am using these lovely natural cotton by Millamia Naturally Soft Cotton in the colours Baby Elephant and Indigo Purple. And it's creating this really beautiful marble effect in the yarn, which I absolutely love. Now, it may look very familiar, because of course I did actually buy this cotton originally to make a knitted dress, which I did technically make, and I don't know if I ever showed the finished piece, but I definitely showed progress in other episodes. And I'm just going to apologise first, because I think something happens when like my projects don't go totally to plan. But I finish them anyway. I sort of put them away and I need time to think about it, and I don't necessarily frog right away, even though I'm not happy with it. And I sort of let it settle. And so that's why I don't think I showed the whole experience in the podcast. So I'm sorry for that. It's not being totally transparent on the whole of a project, just because I need time away when it doesn't work. And so it's still there and it's still been put away, and I haven't frogged it. because I just sort of left it as it is. And what happened with that was the shape just wasn't what I wanted, and I went in a bit blindly. It was self-drafted, and I did it sort of step to step instead of having a full plan to work on. And so what happened was I sort of left it where it was. But then I saw Made by Leah brought out the cranberry dress, and I thought the shape was just so beautiful, and I was like, that's it, that's what I wanted. I wanted a knitted dress more like this, that had that really lovely A-line shape. And so that's what I'm making now. Now luckily I way overbought when I bought the cotton for the first dress that I made, and so I actually had enough for the cranberry dress in stash with what was like left over. It was like 50% of the yarn I bought I still had, and so luckily that's just enough that I needed for the cranberry dress. When I looked at the size and I figured out how much I was going to need, I did have enough, and I was like, great, I can use the cotton, let's do take 2 and we'll make the cranberry dress with it, and hopefully that'll be the shape and the sort of design that I wanted. And I was just really happy when I sort of came across it, because I was like, oh, this is going to be great, maybe we can try again, but this time we'll have a guide, we'll have a pattern to follow, and it'll feel like a bit less pressure. And yeah, so I'm hoping that this is going to be a much better experience, and I have made a start. So how it is worked is you do one side of the V neck, and then the back, and then the back, and then the front of the right side. So I've done my left. I started last night on, so it's just the, oh my god, I'm so sorry, my yarn's made a real mess. This is what happens when everything's on wires and it's all complicated. So I've started, like I said, I mean, it looks like a swatch. It's a very, very small amount of this side that I'm working on. And so I'm hoping to get those parts finished this week and join from the body, and then you just work down the body into the skirt and so yeah, that's an exciting new project, and I think it's going to be lovely that I knew I wanted to get on it like right away, because I think it'd be really lovely for layering in like spring, and then maybe even be able to wear it on its own in the summer, because I've gone with a cotton, so it's going to be really nice and breathable. And yep, so that is the start of my cranberry dress. I'm so sorry, it's so messy, I don't know how it's gotten like this. I normally have everything tidy away and in a bag. Okay, so my second work in progress is this, and it's very, very little, very, very small, but this is obviously a ruffle. There we go. And this is the very, very top and the cuff of a sock. These are going to be the Midnight Dancer socks by Sari Nordlund, and I could not believe how many stitches you begin for a ruffle like this. I've never done one like this before. So it's a cuff. I think it might have given you options in the pattern, but I'm doing cuff down. So I started with the ruffle, and oh my gosh, and I really worried, like it was so big, and I was like, oh god, what's it gonna look like when I like finally decrease down. But I could not believe how cute it came out, and I was just really sort of happy with how ruffled it actually looks. Like it actually looked really, really good. And so I don't think it's going to put me off from doing the second one when I get second sock syndrome, hopefully not. But so yes, so I'm making the Midnight Dancer socks by Sari Nordlund, and I'm using this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn, which is from Zakami. You know, they're my favourite. And this was actually an interesting one because the colourway is limited edition in the way that it was so this was 2024 December's Yarn and Tea Club colour, and I got it on the Baby Llama fingering weight, and it's just the most gorgeous colour. If I show you it again, it has this like sort of white into beige with yellow and pinks, and then this really, really bright blue. and I just think it's going to be really, really gorgeous and delicate. And it has its own halo, so I don't know if you can see, but yeah, do you see it has like its own halo, and so it's fluffy like all on its own, and it's just so delicate and sweet, and I really, really like it. And I think they're going to be gorgeous little socks. So that's a nice one to do. And like I said, like everything's in like really early stages, because I'm just coming off the back of like finishing the Dagmar, and so I was like, oh, I can cast on like new little things now again. But my sort of main work in progress right now is this, and this is the Busan sweater by AegyoKnits, and it has this gorgeous cable running down the centre, and I've got some good progress on it. I mean, I have separated for the body, so I finished the yoke, and it's a raglan, so I have separated the sleeves, and now I'm working the body down. And yes, so it's soon to be on Sleeve Island again, but happy with my progress. I'm absolutely loving the yarn choice that I went with. So this is Woolia by Gepard in the colour Charcoal, and I'm holding it with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the colour Midnight, and it is just this absolutely gorgeous, really sort of light black, dark grey. It's like, well, charcoal, I think. I mean, it does look like charcoal. I kind of love this. I mean, I know like I'm knitting with like really dark yarn, like black yarn, and it's just like very, very silly, and you think to yourself, why are you doing this to yourself? But do you know what? It's mostly in stockinette, and then you have the cable in the middle. Kind of a breeze. I'm enjoying it, and I'm going in the round, so it's only knit stitches, which is lovely. And no, it's been really lovely, and I've loved the construction of the cable like down the centre. It was interesting because I'd never done a cable like this before, like this big, so that was interesting to learn. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm gonna have like a beautiful sort of black staple jumper in the wardrobe, I was gonna say stash, but it's not stash, it's like garments, they're finished. So yes, loving her. That is really, really beautiful. And that actually brings me to my acquisitions, which there are a few. Do have a few acquisitions. So first of all, I just wanted to show the yarn that I'm using for the Busan sweater, which is Gepard Woolia. And like I said, just this gorgeous sort of dark grey. It's so pretty. And then my knitting for Olive as well in the colour Midnight, which is just very, very lovely dark colour. I do think I'm being drawn to sort of much darker colours. I don't know if that's because it's been winter, so we've had like darker weather. I don't know if it's that, but I'm being very, very pulled to the darker, because what it was, I actually saw when I was choosing my colours for my Busan, because I was like really struggling with what shade to do it in, and I could not figure it out. So I do what I always do, which is when I'm looking at colours, and I go on Instagram and I just search like the pattern and I see what colours other people have made them in, and someone had used the charcoal and the Woolia in charcoal, and I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. It's such a nice shade of like really dark grey into black, and I thought, that's it, that's the one. So yeah, so this was an acquisition. I got the sweater quantity for both I think January time, so just wanted to include that because technically it was an acquisition. And like I said, I do have a few because we've had like 2 months worth of yarn shopping. I know it's yarn shopping. I've done a few things. I got a few things. So all the way back in November, I ordered from Zakami a dye to order in their boucle fluffy sort of yarn, and I was so happy with the colour. It's such a beautiful sort of purple to red wine burgundy type colour, again on the darker side. So this is, it's 70% Highland wool and 30% superfine alpaca in the chunky, bulky weight non-superwash. It's 80 meters at 100 grams, and I got it in the colour Vindima, and it's very, very pretty, and I'm so sorry that my lighting is choosing not to pick it up totally, but just very, very pretty. And I did sort of have a plan when I bought it. I've been wanting to make like a jumper in boucle and that type of yarn, and I've been looking at different patterns and stuff and whether to go do it self-drafted or do I want to get a pattern. So I was looking at some of them, and some that stood out was I liked the boucle jumpers that My Favourite Things Knitwear and PetiteKnit had done. They were really nice. But then I also spotted PetiteKnit's zipper sweater with the sort of the half zip here, and it goes into like a really full collar. I'll show a picture. And I thought what would be fun is, what about doing like the body in boucle and then the accents like the cuff and the collar in a different yarn, like a DK weight, but in the same colour. And so the zip would connect to like a much smoother fabric, and it would, but then it would have this really textured body from the boucle. I thought that could be interesting to play around with, and I think I have enough. I got 6 in the die to order. I got quite a few. So I've definitely got a sweater quantity there. And yeah, I thought that could be kind of fun, but as the time of the year is that it is, I will be moving on to more spring type wear and into summer wear. So I'm thinking it could be something lovely that I'll go back to in autumn, because it's such an autumnal colour, and I think it'd be a lovely thing to make over autumn and then wear through the winter. So that's the plan for this, which is this really, really beautiful yarn. And something else from Zakami as well, because they did have a sale at the start of the year. And I thought, oh, I'll go on and see what's there. And I got something really fun in hindsight. I'm really glad I did it. So I got this, which is just really, really beautiful. Now, with hand-dyed yarns, I don't usually go for variegated unless it's sort of like limited edition and part of, like, for instance, the Yarn and Tea. Or if I find one that I really like at a show, I don't normally go for variegated. I'm much more tonal. As just a preference. But I saw this and I thought, oh, this is different, this is fun. And of course, again, with my other pattern that I'm going through lately with colours, this really, really sort of dark, just like a dark black sort of, but then it had this pop at the bottom, this burst of colour from white running into oranges, purples and a bit of green, and I was like, oh, that's very, very interesting. I kind of like that because it would leave sort of lines going across against this just backdrop of black, and I thought that was beautiful. And so I loved this colour, and I thought, what base am I going to get it in? And I eventually went with the 100% organic fine merino in a DK weight non-superwash. It comes in at 225 meters and 100 grams, and the name of the colourway is Space to Grow. And I'll just try and get it to, yes, oh, just so beautiful. And so I thought this would be very interesting. I got 3 hanks in total, and I do have a little plan for it that I think would be nice. I've been really looking at like layering pieces, like little vests and stuff like that, things that I can just wear over a t-shirt, which I think are just really cute, and it works perfect for like knitting something like that because they're just a really cute little garment and they won't take up that much time. Well, who really knows, actually, it could take a bit of time, it just isn't, there's no sleeves involved, which is very appealing, I'll be honest. But so the vest that I was looking at for this in particular would be the Lily vest, which I think is so cute, and I'm going to put their name on the screen, the designer, because it is in French and I'm sure it's very beautiful, but I'm not going to butcher that name. But all the details will be down below of everything that the yarns I've mentioned today and all the patterns that I've mentioned as well, so it will be there below for you to see. And yeah, so of course more yarn from Zakami, and I think it's going to be a really, really cute little vest, and I'm excited for it. Okay, one more piece of yarn. It's this. I got some 220 Superwash Merino by Cascade Yarns, and this is going to be something a little bit fun. So it comes in at 200 meters by 100 grams, and I'm actually going to be making a dog jumper for my friend and nail tech. She does my nails and they're always so beautiful. Why are you not focusing again? There we go. And I love getting my nails done. It's a nice little treat that I give myself every month, and it actually works great with like being a knitter and getting your nails done, because your hands like and your nails are always tidied up, and so I get like no snags and stuff, which used to happen a lot before I did. But so yes, she has a really cute dog called Toka, and I'm going to be making a jumper, and she chose the colour, she went with raspberry from the Superwash Merino in the DK. And so that's a lovely little project that I'll be getting on with. I got two, so I've got 200 grams, which is 400 meters together. And I think that's going to be enough for a dog jumper. So yeah, that's a fun little thing that I'll be making. Something else that I have as well, I have some notions as well in acquisitions today. So I have these really pretty moth stitch markers. I'm trying to see if they'll, yeah, these really cute little stitch markers that are little moths, and I thought they were really pretty, and the colour of them was just gorgeous, and they're really quite full of life and bright, and they have moons and stars on, which I thought was lovely and pretty. So some extra little stitch markers, and I got these from Ethel and Joan, which is a lovely little company that I like. I also have a bag from them as well, and so I got some stitch markers and some other little notions, and I just thought they'd be really nice to include because I thought they were so pretty. And the only moths I want anywhere near my knitwear is these stitch marker ones, and it's just really nice to add to more of my stitch markers. I have so many, and but it's nice to have like little collections, and I like to theme my projects with my stitch markers as well, which I think is something else people do, right? That they do that, but I like to, it's fun. And so they're going to add it to my stitch marker stash, which I think of as like an accessory to my whole stash. But yeah, that was lovely. Okay, final notion and final acquisition. Thank you so much if you're still watching, because like I said, this is a really long one. Okay, so I'm undoing it before I've showed you, apologies. But I finally got a Lantern Moon needle set. Now, my birthday is right before Christmas, and I did get it as a birthday present, which was very lovely and very generous. And it was my parents who got it me for my birthday, and I'm so happy with it. I did pick it out, and I did tell them that I wanted this one because this is the Heirloom Lantern Moon needle set, interchangeable needles, and it is the set that has the most needles in it. So it actually has 10. So I'll just show you who comes in this lovely case with this lovely pattern on the front, and then it opens up and it's this lovely sort of royal blue colour, and it has pockets here with all my needles. There's 6 at the top there, and then 4 in this bottom one, but I am actually using the 5mm right now, so sorry about that, they're on something. But so there it is there, and they run from sizes 3mm all the way to 8. It came with 3 different cable lengths for attaching the needles to, and then of course the changing set with the little tool, and then these really cute, see if I can get them out, these really cute sort of tassel stitch markers, which I thought were really lovely. And says something else to add to the collection, and yes, really happy to have a full needle set, because something I will always say is that I'll say when I start something or a project, the first thing I'll do is like check the needle size, what do I need, see if I have it, and it's always a case of like half the time you don't. It's like, even though I have so many needle sizes, I never have the one that I need, and it's always the way. And so I will say it's really comforting to have a full set. I'm sure other people who have a full set can relate to that, because it's like, you just know that you have it. You know what I mean? Because I have spares as well now. So I'm sort of like, oh, I have multiple sizes now, which is quite good. I'm getting to that point where I have sort of all the tools that I need, because I know I'm going to cast on something else in the same size or something like that. And so it just feels really nice to have this here. and like a guarantee that I'm not going to have to worry or wait to buy a different size or something like that, that I've sort of got it in stash. And that actually is like a really nice feeling as sort of like an artist and a maker, because I know I have what I need. And so that was a lovely feeling, more than just like having something lovely and pretty, because I do absolutely love Lantern Moon knitting needles. I want to try their crochet hooks as well, because they look gorgeous. And they're all made with an ebony wood, which is just really dark brown to black colour of wood. And I just find it's gorgeous. They're so smooth. I will say this, I definitely think I found my needle, because I love wooden needles, but these are definitely my favourites. And the only other time that I use a different material is metal, and that's usually for socks, because I love the Chiegu Flexi DPNs. Like, I will usually make a sock with them. And yeah, it's just really lovely to have it in, and to add to the ever-growing collection, as I'm sure we all do. But again, a lovely birthday present and my final acquisition. So that's it for my acquisitions and for all of the details for the podcast. But of course, I did mention that I'm adding a section at the end, and it is going to be what I'm reading this month. And in this edition, episode 13, I'm going to be talking about a book called The Lamb by Lucy Rose, which I read in January, and it was just amazing. I have not read a book that gripped me like this, and I think in years. It was very, very visceral and raw, and I couldn't put it down. I needed to know what happened next. And so it's just a very, very interesting book that is all from the perspective of a mind of a child who, I think she's 11. Yeah, and about the toxic relationship with her mother, living in a rural area, completely isolated in the wilds of Cumbria. And I will just say this, it's not for the faint of heart. It's got some gore and some horror in it, which isn't my usual sort of book. It's not the type of thing that I would usually read, but I was sort of fascinated by, when I read the blurb in the cutest little bookshop in Skipton when I was up in Yorkshire for Yarndale. So everything's coming full circle for me here, because I was there for yarn and now I'm talking about it on my yarn podcast. So, but yeah, really, really amazing read. The descriptiveness in it is just so beautiful. Like, I remember her describing the rain and just it feeling so cold. And yeah, it's just her description. It's like I was so in it, you know, and you find that book and you just click. It was so beautiful. Definitely an author to look out for again. I'll definitely be reading more of her stuff, because I just love the way that she wrote and described the story and what was going on. And yeah, I'm going to put details down below it if you feel like it's your kind of read. Definitely recommend. I absolutely loved it, and it was a great way to start off my reading for the new year, because I'm trying really hard to read more. Sort of had a dip where I wasn't reading very much, and I was like, I want to read books again. So that's really great, and I'm doing that now. And so hopefully I'll share more in each podcast, because it feels like we're a community who reads. Am I right? Like, I feel like whenever I watch other podcasts or people talking, and people are also sharing books now and talking about things that they like to read, and I think it all goes in together, because it's another cozy type hobby, I guess. Yeah, and really lovely as well, because it's so nice to read stories, and I think it helps you learn things as well. So I'm happy to be doing that again. Okay, that's it. Oh my god, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for being here. I hope wherever you are, you're well and you are safe, and I hope you've enjoyed this podcast today. Please like, subscribe and comment, and click the little bell when you want to know when I'm posting next. We're definitely officially back. I will be back hopefully every 4 weeks with a podcast episode. Thank you if you waited for one. Gosh, that's amazing. Thank you for that. Yeah, but I'm officially back, and please comment, like I just said. Comment below if you want to talk about any yarns that I've mentioned today, any patterns, the things that I'm making. What are you making? I want to know. And hell, whatever you're reading as well. So thanks so much for joining. Happy New Year once again. This has been episode 13 of the RLK podcast, and I'm Rebecca Louise of Rebecca Louise Knits. Thank you so much for joining today. Bye bye.